Okay, so we're going to take a look at lists here. So we've got a basic HTML5 template, title, character encoding. We're going to do the style sheet in the embed that inside the head section, but when we're finished, we'll move that into an external CSS, which is the best place for all your common styles to reside. Inside the body, we have a page level header with an H1. And we've also, inside the H1, we have an image. Notice there's an inline style there to float that image off to the right of the text. Inside, after the header, we have a main element and a footer. So very, very simple. We'll take a look at what that looks like in Chrome. And there you go. So not much to see at the moment. So back to our code editor. So we're going to take a look, first of all, at unordered lists. The unordered list element is a compound element. So we start off with an UL tag. Be sure to close the UL element right away, as it's very, very easy to forget to do that. And then, of course, you have a broken markup. So open and close the unordered list element, and of course we'll start with our first list item, which is an LI. And in the spirit of Frog and Toad, we'll say the first character in the story is Frog. And of course, if I want to add more elements to the list, simply another list item. And maybe we'll add a third one here, and that character is Snail. Oops. And so all of those list items must be contained within the parent UL element. You'll notice my code formatting. I've taken great care, and that may not seem like a big deal now, but as the list gets more complex, that will in fact become a bigger deal. So we'll head over to the browser and take a look at the default styles for a list element. Maybe I forgot to save the file. I did. So save the file, head over to the browser, reload the page, and the default styles. You'll notice that there's a list marker, which is a bullet for unordered lists. That's the default. Most browsers agree on that. And there is either a padding or on the UL, or a margin, or it's each of the list items have an individual padding or left margin. So whatever the browser uses for that in terms of the box model, there is always some sort of indent for that. And this makes sense. It just gives you, you can make these lists look like whatever you want, but of course we want it to be very clear that this is a list. And the bullets imply that there is no real order to this. It's simply kind of a grab bag of items. If, of course, it is important that the list items they communicate that there is some sort of order to this, or some sort of sequence, then we need an ordered list. So that's simply an OL element, and that's pretty much where the differences end. And we inside the OL, of course, we still have list items. So in this case, following along in the spirit of Frog and Toad, first thing Frog does is he wakes up. If I remember correctly, then he eats breakfast. Add one more, and then he gets dressed. So get, and so so a similar structure to the unordered list, except the parent element is an OL. Again, all of the LIs need to be encapsulated within that parent element. We'll take a look at default styles in a browser for our ordered list. And you can see the browser is kind enough to apply decimal numerals as list markers, which makes sense. And this it allows you then to add, edit, and delete any number of list items, and the numbering will be handled automatically by the browser. So that's great. The third type of list that we'll take a look at here is called a definition list. And this one's a little bit different. The structure is a bit of departs a bit from what we've seen here. So the parent element for the definition list is a DL. And a definition list is a compound, well, it's a multi-part element in the sense that we have a definition list, so it's suitable for something like a glossary or a list of terms that you want to describe. So we will have a definition term, oops, a DT. In this case, we'll want to define what a frog is. And strangely, the definition description, the DD, is a sibling element to the term that you are trying to describe. So we'll say a slimy green amphibian. Okay. You're free to add more than one description if applicable to the DT. Then if we want to add another item to the list, we can head back to a new term. We'll say toad in this case. And the definition description here is a warty brown amphibian. Did I spell that right? And we'll add one more just to make it an even 3. Define bear. I think frog and toad have a friend named Bear. I can't recall. Anyway, the definition description for bear is a fuzzy brown, well, it's not always brown, mammal. How's that? So there we go. So we'll save this document, head over into the browser, reload the page, and we'll see there is some rudimentary styling that's been applied in the sensing or anything, and then a consistent padding or left margin is added to each of the definition descriptions. So by looking at just the default styles in the browser, you can make definition lists look however you wish, but at least it's clear that semantically this structure is significant. So that's those are your 3 basic types of lists. Next up, we'll take a look at lists as navigation.